to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. It's a wacky Wednesday, everybody. December 3rd. The Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Mike, the Fantasy Hitman. The Fantasy Do No Wrong Man. Jason Moore, the Hanging On For Dear Life.
There's been plenty of wrong, man. Had to buy my way out of some wrong decisions.
Yeah, but you did. And I'm Andy Holloway. Welcome, man. We got all three of the Deucers in the house, two of them fighting like cats and dogs. Papa Josh and the Falcon, always at each other's throats, just like siblings.
They are the weirdest old married couple.
Yes.
I mean, they get along like water and oil, and they absolutely love each other.
Yeah.
And they love hating each other.
Deep down, you love each other. And Al Borland's just, he's just out of that.
I'm just babysitting back here.
I mean, Papa Josh, if I make a perfect strangers reference, you would understand that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet the Falcon will not.
Yeah.
It's a sitcom from the mid-'80s.
Yep. My goodness. Welcome in, one and all. It is getting ready for Week 14 time. Fantasy playoffs right around the corner. We'll see if Mike can really do no wrong. If Isaac Tesla on Thursday, if Tesla has a 2-touchdown night on Thursday,
guys,
Mike, the good news is that Mike can't, at that point, he won't be able to win all the championships in the leagues because he will have ascended into another plane.
No, I will.
His teams will be unmanned.
I call dibs on your team.
That's fine.
I call dibs on the other one.
But the third dimension, I'll be gone.
Yeah, he will.
I will be. Can you enter the Tesseract? Is that? I don't even know how that works. But we'll find it. We will find out on Thursday. Should Isaac Tesla have a multi-touchdown game?
Yeah, I mean everything is just working out well. You've got a bye week built in for Christian McCaffrey, so we can't get hurt before the playoffs.
Oh, it's great.
And
for most, I'm sorry if you need McCaffrey this week.
No, it's. I mean,
you
probably don't if you have him, and that's been the amazing thing. But we've got, what do we got today? We got some mailbag we're going to dive into. We'll do some backup options. We'll talk about some NFL news. We've got a Thursday night game where Mike will talk about Isaac Tesla. I'll talk about Jameson Williams, and Jason.
I'll talk about the playoff implications. It's
Yeah.
a massively important game.
Yeah, I just thought maybe you'd be spending most of this show doing advanced math on scenarios of whether you win or lose games and who your opponent will be. And, we have.
I locked up the playoffs last week.
Yeah.
As we talked about. I will be doing nothing this week.
You're just taking it off.
I am taking a big breather.
Now, we do have a bit of a problem in our leagues. And those listening out there, maybe you do it one way or another way. You were not. I think you were in the middle of doing the Dynasty show yesterday, Jason, and Mike and I were just examining a couple of leagues, and we realized that in our league of record, we reseed the playoffs after round one. And so it is
as should be done.
I think it is the right the right way to do it.
That's
because
what sports do.
Yeah,
that's what proper tournaments do.
If you're the number one seed and then someone pulls an upset and they're a lower seed, you should get to face them. But our other main league, our Dynasty League, we don't do that.
We should put that to a vote.
And it's going to really cost Mike this year.
Because I will vote no.
Because we have a division leader.
No,
that's
it
like
costs you, Jay.
I will vote yes. Which one is better for me? That's how I'll vote.
No matter. So you're in your bracket, where our bracket is 3 people from our division. Just that's how it's worked out. The 3. Well, no. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I won't say the 3 strongest teams. Your team is in there. What? What? I didn't want to say the 3 strongest teams.
That was
and
mostly
then
complimentary. Yeah, the tone.
I appreciate
Don't worry
it.
about it.
Yeah. But I play either you or Troy's team.
Okay.
No matter what.
And the division winning.
That sucks.
And Brooks plays.
I just knocked Tua Tagovailoa way off the desk. Just
so
left hand punched him off the desk.
The point of that story is, we should be reseeding immediately.
Yeah, and I think we did change to that at one point in League of Record. It wasn't that way by default. I don't think they do that by default. Yeah, the Tua statue has a concussion for sure. But let's get into things. The Megalo Bowl leader right now, Allen the Hips. That's the first time I've heard that name atop the Megalo Bowl.
Wow.
Megalo Bowl leader Allen, all caps, the Hips. The Hips is a great nickname.
The Hips?
If you call me the Hips.
As in like your body part, or
you
like
don't know.
your hip?
You don't know. I could be hip.
Jay,
I could have hips that don't lie.
You should run through the Megalo Bowl playoffs for the people at home.
Yeah, so if you are in the top 6 in your Megalo Bowl league, you will make, after this week, you will go into the playoffs. You no longer have a head-to-head matchup on the Sleeper platform. Basically, you can look at the standings at megalobowl.com, and then the way it works is just score more than half of people, and you're on to the next week. Do it again, and you're on to the final week, and then you got to score the most to be the winner and play with us in the Listener League next year.
It's going to be fun. We are right there. We have what else do we have? I guess we should remind people, we mentioned it yesterday, if you do need a trophy, a ring, a belt for your league, fantasychamps.com has the highest quality, best products for the champions out there, and you can use the code BALLERS to save some money on those. So if you need them, every year there's new trophies, new rings, all that stuff. Fantasychamps.com to check that out. Let's go ahead and jump right in.
Backup Options, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Waivers have gone through in your league. We've got some backup options, some players maybe beneath the waiver pickups that might be worth grabbing, stashing, keeping an eye on, just in case they can be those bottom-of-the-barrel league winners. That happens every year. And I'm throwing Ollie Gordon's name out there.
Sure.
For the Dolphins. They have the second-best running back strength of schedule heading into the playoffs. If you're smart, you're the H-Chan manager, you have Ollie Gordon on your team. But he's, I think, a good player. I think if Ollie Gordon had more opportunities, because he's had fantasy-relevant games even with H-Chan this year, Miami's number 1 in the league in rush rate right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tua is not throwing the ball a ton. I mean, over the last... You had a blip in where they were getting blown out by Baltimore where he threw the ball 40 times, but the past 3 games, 23 attempts, 20 and 21.
There's a world where, because committee backs get started, right? Chris Rodriguez has kind of been a committee, right? We have Michael Carter's been started in leagues. I think Ollie Gordon is in that conversation because the matchups are that good and they should be really competing in these games. The playoffs, it's Pittsburgh in the first one, but then Cincinnati, who gives up 9 more points than expectation to running backs, and then Tampa Bay. Something to pay attention to, a name we've barely mentioned this year.
It's a great name to bring up because he is talented. He is good. He's
he
a monster
hard,
of a man. He's 6'2", 225, and only 21 years old.
Little Latavius Murray vibes to me.
Sure. Yeah, and honestly, 2 years ago, Ollie Gordon was thought to be a borderline first-round NFL draft pick. He was the hotness, had a disappointing senior year, but he's looked good. So I think that's a great name to bring up because H-Chan is undersized, and he's getting worked like crazy. If he goes down, he'll be an important name. The name I'm going to bring up, another insurance running back who I can't believe is getting dropped everywhere. I know it's you gotta drop who you gotta drop, but I saw Emmanuel Wilson on the most drop list. I would love if Emmanuel Wilson was dropped in our league. I'm the Josh Jacobs manager.
Yeah.
He's already been dealing with injuries that are kind of lingering. Like, Josh Jacobs scares me. And
he could limp off at any moment.
And you already saw Emmanuel Wilson be the guy without Josh Jacobs, have a multi-touchdown game. He was the running back 2 in fantasy that week. So, yeah, I mean, don't drop Emmanuel Wilson. If he is dropped, pick him up. Scoop him up.
Yeah, makes sense.
And he's back because he was my backup option last week. I'm going with Andre Yoshivash.
Yeah, you messed that up.
Yeah, I really did. I apologize, Yoshi. But I know that Tinsley was kind of the story of he was getting targeted a ton. He had 9 targets. Tinsley could be a super deep backup option as well. I'm bringing him up just because the T. Higgins news isn't good yet for clearing concussion protocol. Seems like we're trending for another week without him. And with Joe Burrow back, there are fantasy points to go around. And just to lay it out a little bit more, Yoshi only had the 2 targets. He came through with the touchdown, so everything was okay if you played him last week. but he was on the field for 94% of the snaps, 88% of the routes, while Tinsley was at 60% of the routes.
He had the touchdown.
The ball just happened to go to Tinsley a lot. It was not effective. But both of these guys, depending on the size of your league, I think are in play this week against Buffalo. If you missed out on the wide receivers you needed from the waiver wire, these guys should be in a higher scoring game.
If the Bengals
52.5 point over under.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
If the Bengals go down this year and they don't make the playoffs, they're going down with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And so I like it. That was Backup Option, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Quote today at progressive.com. Let's talk news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Maybe we need to get Papa Josh and Falcon some counseling. You know what I mean?
No way.
To talk through it, to deal with it.
No way. The electricity's good for the office.
Yeah, you don't want things too chummy around here, too comfortable.
No way.
The Buccaneers are expected to open the 21-day window for both Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan, and both are expected to practice this week. It is ahead of schedule for Mike Evans with the collarbone expectations. Well, he's a dog.
Yeah. This is wild, man. If they really have all the wide receiver weapons for Baker to close out the season, it could be wild.
Does that scare you for Ibuka?
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The vibes with Ibuka are so weird right now because he was so effective with Evans. So there's that part of you that's like, oh, this would be great. You know, you have
but that was sans Godwin.
Yeah, they had no Godwin. But then you look and say, well, these targets are amazing, 11, 9, 10. And you're like, oh, I want that to continue. But that's turned into low efficiency, 30+% catch rate. And so, yeah, I think ultimately it's what you believe about the talent. Ibuka's a great talent.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great player. I don't know if he's still in the lead in terms of receiving yards for the wide receiver position as a rookie. It's probably close with Tetaroa at this point. But, you know, I guess I'm mostly neutral and a little bit worried in general. Amari and Hampton expected to return this week against the Eagles on Monday. It is a bit of a scary start to me. You go into Monday night.
Yeah.
Hampton, Eagles. Kamani Vidal's been good.
Yeah,
There's no way you give him a full workload. But we saw this past week, we weren't expecting a full workload for Bucky Irving, and he ends up with a touchdown that got called back and then another touchdown later in the game.
Dude, Bucky looked back.
He looked like a guy whose body was well a while ago.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Hampton is going to be a really interesting start-sit decision.
Yeah,
people are going to get him back, and they're going to go, I don't know what to do. And I think in most situations, feel like I would rather wait a week.
Oh, really? I was going to say, I feel like in a lot of situations, I'm just going to play him.
Yeah. I mean, it is all depending on your options. We also had word that, and you've kind of seen this with the Blake Corum utilization, but Mike LaFleur said the team wants Kyron Williams fresh for the NFL playoffs.
Boo.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that right before your fantasy playoffs.
One of the fun things about the Deucers' constant spats is that they're co-managers of a fantasy team, and so that team has Kyron Williams. So you don't like that news, do you, Papa Josh?
Just shake your head on our audio podcast.
I can't handle another injury to our team.
And let me check this. Falcon, do you like that news?
No, I hate it.
Okay, so now you have common ground.
This is why
you both hate that's going to knock you out of the playoffs.
I don't want to miss the news. The Tyrone Tracy injury. He's saying he suffered a hip contusion and a stinger, so he expects to be fine.
Is this true that the Steelers signed Adam Thielen?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
You missed that?
Yeah.
Did you not see? Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Well, Aaron Rodgers needed someone to relate to.
This
nice.
What is the why is the name
Aaron?
What podcast did we go on a couple years ago with the lineman that hosts the show? I feel terrible not remembering the name right now.
Long?
Yes. What's the name of that show?
Oh, now I can't think about it. It's Chris Long's
Is
podcast.
it
Chris Long?
Go Long?
Chris Long
No.
on the Chris Long podcast, which
looks like green light with
Yes,
I knew.
yes,
See, I
that's
said
it.
green. I knew it had green. In it.
Yeah.
He, a great podcast, great host. They do a lot of amazing work. They just had a podcast a couple days ago where they were joking about Mike Tomlin, where he's like, Mike Tomlin's the kind of guy that would say, you need a spoon to eat soup, not a fork, as in like you need better players
Right.
to eat the soup, and then would go sign a 2018 Pro Bowler. And then they joked about it being Adam Thielen because he's a 2018 Pro Bowler, and then they sign Adam Thielen?
Yeah, that's funny.
Wow.
You don't have Big Ben anymore, buddy.
At the same time, I feel like this is a good signing for the Steelers. Like they need another legitimate wide receiver, and Adam Thielen is no Pro Bowler anymore. But
I think this matters not.
Compared
for fantasy,
to,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not pushing Aaron Rodgers over the top, and it's not making Adam Thielen a relevant play, but it is good for the Steelers. I mean, they don't have quality wide receivers there.
I'm not sure Adam is that anymore. This is his final season, too.
Yeah.
He said that. So that was News and Notes, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. We'll take a break. We'll jump into the Thursday night preview.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. And right now on Prize Picks, you can get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You like Josh Allen this week? How much? More on passing yards, more on rush yards, more on touchdowns? Well, you can do that, but only on Prize Picks. And now they have a new feed tab where you can go follow your friends. You can directly copy their lineups in one click. Maybe you want to follow along with us on the Footballers, or just someone whose picks you like. You can do that on Prize Picks. We've been having so much fun this season in our head-to-head battles here on the Footballers. And you know what I really like is making the beginning of the game really interesting. Like this past week, I had Javonte Williams. I took the less on in his first 5 rushing attempts. Will he have more or less than 18.5 yards? Bryce Young, will he have more or less than 7 completions? Things like that. It makes the beginning of the game truly an event, extra special, extra fun for your fantasy football weekend. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code FOOTBALLERS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code FOOTBALLERS to get $50 on lineups after you play that first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Is Adam Thielen the kind of guy that's going to free DK Metcalf up?
No.
Okay. All right, we do have a pretty fun, pretty exciting, better not let us down Thursday night game.
Thursday Night Breakdown.
Dallas 6-5-1, Detroit 7-5. That's wild. I mean, if Dallas wins the ball game, they have a better record than Detroit.
If Dallas wins the ball game, the Lions have a 12% chance at making the playoffs.
What?
A 12% chance of making the playoffs if Dallas wins. This game,
is that just based on the record? Because it's like you don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the games this week.
Those are like those projections based on the lines for the rest of the season for every matchup around the league.
That's crazy.
It is. So if they win, they have still only a 45% chance of making the play. Like the Lions are up against it right now.
Yeah, because of the division.
What's the schedule? It's got to be divisional games too, right? At the rest of the schedule. That's wild. They play Dallas, then the Rams, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Chicago. So that's wild because I feel like if Chicago loses this week, they go from the 1 seed to the 7 seed. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly Chicago, that game, that Week 18 game could be a playoff spot between Chicago and the
I'll bet
Lions.
it is. Wow. I'll bet it is.
And that game is in Chicago. 3 of the next 5 games for the Lions are on the road as well. So this is a crucial must-win game for both.
That's fun.
Detroit 3-point favorites at home. Over-under is, I'm going to just say it. 55! You round up, 54.5.
That's insane. It opened at 52.5. They are expecting big offensive performances. I will say this. The Detroit offensive line is hurting right now. So far, Graham Glasgow, limited participant in practice. Their left tackle, Taylor Decker, didn't practice on Tuesday. Panay Sewell didn't practice. Their left guard went to the IR.
Goodness.
And then Frank Ragnow, they brought him back from
retired
retirement with too bad of a hamstring. So, man. And that's like always been the strength of this version of the Lions is their offensive line. So,
well, if there's a defense that can overcome the other team's offensive line not being good enough and still give up points, it's Dallas.
Yeah.
They've been a lot better against the run in recent weeks, 9th in the last 6 weeks against the run, but still 31st against quarterbacks, 32nd against wideouts, of which they have maintained that throughout the entire season. That's exciting. And guess what? The Lions are the same. They can't play defense against quarterbacks and wide receivers. They give up a ton of fantasy points. This is magic. If you need to win this week, you want a player in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little sad that this game isn't next week for me because the Dak CD stack, it's going to be fire.
I would be feeling that way too. I'd be very excited about that. So Dak, Javonte, Lamb, Pickens, yeah, play them all. Jared Goff, basically my favorite start of the week. Gibbs,
I mean, Monty's,
Amon-Ra, we don't think he'll be out there.
Monty is in play. I know that the Cowboys are, not giving up a ton of points to the running back position right now, but it's in such a high-scoring game with the amount of touchdowns. It
doesn't make you nervous?
Oh, I mean, I'm not like, yes, I got Montgomery to play compared to the other players in this game, but I mean, at this point, Montgomery already had a level on your fantasy roster where he's, you look at him, you're like, he's a running back 3 type of a guy based on the right matchup. I could play him, and this is one of them.
The Dan Campbell quote on Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he can play, he'll play.
Yeah, that's usually how that works. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, his quote himself, he said, I'm not sure right now if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's not.
It's a short week.
It's still up in the air. This team, the only thing that could talk you into it is the idea of what you just said, the fact if they lose this game at home, their playoff odds become very challenging.
Yeah.
Because if this was any other scenario where they felt more comfortable, I'd be like, goodness, give him the 10 days. I don't think he'll be out there. I don't think he can get there. And I think if they need to close the season 4 more games the right way, they're going to want him out there for those, for that shot to make it. So if he's not out there, Jameson Williams, I mean, since week 6, he's the wide receiver 10 in total fantasy points. That includes 2 gooses.
That's incredible. That's the most. That is the most Jameson Williams stat of all time. He's had 2 gooses, but along that stretch, he is the wide receiver 10. I mean, the option to go nuclear is here. He is a must start. There's no league. I mean, I don't think that you could possibly have 3 other wide receivers you could play ahead of him.
No, not for this week. And then Isaac Tesla, if Amon-Ra is out, I think Tesla, oh gosh, it's like torture.
It makes me feel like my hair on my arms is standing up.
What did they used to do for people with mental illness?
The shock therapy?
That's what that feels like.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain is being reprogrammed to agree with your takes more.
I love the player. It's so much fun, the big plays. The targets, honestly, they've not been there really ever for Tesla in his, if you go back to college, not a big target earner. This year, even when he's on the field, really not getting targets. He gives you spectacular catches. So I think we said it right on the waiver show. The floor for Tesla is 0. The ceiling for him is 80-plus yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not an impossibility. So want a little Alec Pierce day from him? Right. I'm playing him almost everywhere that I have him.
We can play him over Jefferson?
Oh, man. Stop it. No, you wouldn't play him over Jefferson.
If he was,
he might score more points than Jefferson.
I would probably play him over Jefferson.
Oh.
Dude.
Nah.
And a 54.5 point over-under with no Amon-Ra at home.
The floor for Jefferson
is below the floor.
It's
the basement.
Here's the floor for Jefferson. 1.4, which he just did.
Yeah, we just said that the floor for Tesla was 0.
Yeah,
that's less than 1.4.
Okay, that sure. Floors. What's the ceiling for Justin Jefferson? 8
points?
Still
pretty high, probably.
Yeah,
it might be smart to sting.
The Washington matchup is a good get right matchup right now for Justin Jefferson.
Okay,
for him, not for JJ.
I'm gonna go JJ.
Okay. The Justin Jefferson and the Lamar Jackson questions are impossible.
Yeah, I mean,
Somewhere, someone out there had both and thought they were going to win.
I totally understand the avenue, the game, this environment, the missing Amon-Ra. Tesla is in play. If I had like Xavier Worthy or Tesla, I'm playing Tesla.
Okay.
But I don't think I'm going to move him in ahead of wide receivers with more experience. He's got 6 catches in his career.
I do worry about Monty in this game. I really do. I've been so impressed with the run defense by Dallas in recent weeks. If this is going to be one of those games that it looks like, high scoring affair, you don't have control, the offensive line is beat up, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents out there that
you didn't get a little bit of hope last week that Monty looked okay against Green Bay.
There's always hope he's going to score. But I mean, he was still the running back 22 on the week.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean,
but that's what I mean.
32 yards and a touchdown. So 32 yards. I have hope he'll get 32 yards. But if he doesn't score and they need to lean on Gibbs and get him out in space because the defensive line is moving this offensive line that's beat up, I just think the floor is really low. That's all.
I would agree with that. I also think it's worth throwing the name out there for, if you're in deep leagues, Khalif Raymond is not, if Amon-Ra is not there, we're excited about Tesla. He's the exciting, big-bodied rookie who can make highlight catches. But Khalif Raymond will be on the field a lot. We've been playing Parker Washington.
He's been ruled out.
Yeah, he is likely to miss week 14.
No, he's out.
Holy Tesla!
Do you want to let's redo that. Let's redo that take.
I'm just saying. My point is,
Tesla will be out there.
Whoever the third wide receiver is going to matter. I don't care who it is.
Well, Tesla was out there for every snap last week.
Yeah.
So who is the third wide receiver?
Exactly.
Tom Kennedy?
Exactly. You don't. I mean, we don't. Tesla will matter in this game. Man. If Amon-Ra is out, he will 100% matter. But it might matter to the tune of 2 for 45 and no touchdowns. That could be the game.
Yes.
And yes, Tom Kennedy, I think, is an actual person.
Is he one of the Kennedys?
He could be.
He has to be.
Yeah, there's only one family with that name.
Man, would you play Tesla over Odunze?
Yeah. If he again, this is all predicated on no Amon-Ra, but of course.
Yeah, I think I would. Holy moly!
Yes.
This is a wide.
You have no Laporta. You have no Amon-Ra. You have no Khalif Raymond.
You have to.
You legitimately
score
have
30
to throw,
points
and
in
you
this
have
game.
to throw.
You have to throw. Wow, this is.
I mean, I'm seeing a picture of Tom Kennedy. I don't know if it's real.
Jeez Louise.
The American television host from the 50s? Is that who's starting?
Isaac Tesla or Michael Pittman? I just want to see how high we can go with Tesla here.
Let's not get crazy.
I'd play Pittman.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's not get crazy.
That's the line. Alec Pierce?
I'd play
No,
Pierce. Pierce, for
Okay.
sure.
DK Metcalf.
Against Baltimore.
I would think about Tesla.
I would play
Okay.
Tesla.
I think that's where it starts getting fuzzy.
Wow. I got to move him up in my rankings. He was not there.
Jake Ferguson. How are you feeling right now about Jake Ferguson? Okay?
Yeah, I think that really describes it the best. It's okay.
Tight end 80, 26, 7, 9, and 20. So it wasn't the glory days of no CeeDee Lamb. It's changed a lot. I think you could probably – I'd be much happier with the Waller, Strange, Loveland, Pitts than I would Ferguson right now.
Loveland or Ferguson, I think, is a tough
That
call.
one's close. Yeah, that one's close.
But the other names, yes.
Britton Strange or Jake Ferguson is one of our most popular start-sit decisions. We have Britton Strange higher. So by a few spots. Well, Mike is only one spot higher.
That's really close to me.
Yeah, it is.
Because of just getting pieces into this game.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Jacksonville Indy game might be another one that you want pieces in.
That's a 47.5. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
And Indy is not very good against tight ends. So that's a really tough call.
What's your call? You think if you had to make it today, you want the info? You want Ferguson in there to get the intel on what you need early, or would you
they're
go
in the
Strange?
exact same tier to me. I really like Strange this week. But the extra information, getting an early play, knowing if you did good or bad, I think is probably worth it.
Superman does good. Let's get into the mailbag here. It's time.
Mailbag.
Yeah.
All right, it is week 14. Big questions on the horizon. If you have a question for the show, visit the website, click the submit a question button, or dial our voicemail hotline 302-464-TFFB. B, we've got the ever-exciting Rome Odunze questions coming in on the voicemail.
Hey, this is John from Cleveland. I need to win to get into the playoffs. Who do I start at flex? Rome Odunze or Brian Thomas? I hate both these players. I also have David Montgomery, but I feel like I need a wide receiver. Thanks.
We got Rome Odunze, we got Brian Thomas. So Rome against Green Bay, Brian Thomas against Indy, or Monty versus Dallas.
I'm going to go Brian Thomas. I've said this.
Man, you got the.
I think that this is a get right game.
You got the vibes for Thomas
it's
this week.
We just talked about that matchup, 47.5 points, so it's a good matchup. There's a lot of weather issues this week, so both of these dome games I'm very excited for. There's going to be chilly weather and snow across the country this weekend, so I like Brian Thomas here. You've got Sauce Gardner ruled out, obviously, for the Colts. And no Parker Washington, presumably. It looks like he's going to be missing that game. So I lean that way. But obviously, Brian Thomas has had one game with 10 points.
I was going to say, there's one game you've been happy. That's a close one for me. Odunze is tough to start right now.
Odunze?
I mean, both of those players, their names do more work than they've done on the field.
Someone shared a photo
tough one.
In our Slack where it was, okay, I found it. So the projections. This was the over on Underdog that John Mechie III has a higher receiving yard projection than Rome Odunze.
Yeah, and it makes
John Mechie of the New York Jets.
Yeah, it makes sense. Rome is not what we thought he was to start the year. He's still getting the targets, but the fact that he is catching fewer than it's not him
Rome.
and Caleb are not in sync right now. Catching fewer than 50% of his targets on the course of the year, very difficult to.
His percentage of uncatchable targets is catastrophically high.
Yeah, he's got too many games here recently. 8 yards, 41 yards, 31 yards, 32 yards. It's.
I'm going to go with you.
You're going to go
Brian
with
Thomas?
Brian Thomas?
I'm going to go BTJ.
Yeah, I agree.
Back to, with Parker Washington's injury, back to relevance this week in a good matchup and a good situation. It could definitely outpace that over-under, I think. All right, let's don't worry, we've got more.
Hey, ballers. Steven here from Grand Rapids, Michigan. In a full PPR league, should I start Monangai or Rome Odunze as my flex? I feel like Rome might be the right choice, but he's been painful lately. Let me know what you think. Thanks.
Oh, man.
Full PPR.
I mean,
Kyle Monangai or Rome Odunze.
Monangai has been, just to highlight it, he has scored in 4 consecutive games. He had 23 opportunities this past week.
Yeah, but it was off the heels of 12, 13, 8.
Which is innumerably more than Odunze.
Full PPR.
I mean, he scored double-digit fantasy points 3 straight weeks, even with – now, it's Green Bay. It's a tough situation and a tough matchup. Are you going to bet on Odunze making a couple big plays on Green Bay's defense or on Monangai just slowly getting 8 to 10 points?
Yeah, it's more of a bet on just the Chicago offensive line. Do you think that they will manhandle Green Bay the way that they did the Philadelphia
They've been
Eagles?
doing it a lot this year. That is a really close one. The full PPR also pushes you so hard in the wide receiver direction. I guess I'll lean Odunze by a hair. Because I will want, what are the odds that Monangai gives you 20? That seems really low against Green Bay. So if you were a favorite, let me put it this way, and I'm not trying to get out of an answer. If you're a favorite, I'm playing Monangai. If you are an underdog this week, I'm playing Rome Odunze. Because I think that you want the opportunity for a long touchdown for a significant play.
I feel like the ceiling is higher with Monangai for just if he gets 2 touchdowns. I think I'm going Monangai either way.
He's not done that all year.
No, I know, but what we have seen right now from that offensive line, that offensive line might be the best in the league. They are on fire right now. What they did to the Eagles last week was incredible.
So Swift had a carry inside the 5. He scored. Monangai had a carry inside the 5. He scored. So it wasn't like I don't think for sure who's going to get that carry.
Yeah, I'll go with the favorite versus underdog answer.
Okay.
Mike, which one are you going with? I know you almost escaped without a full answer.
Well, it was the next question.
Oh, you had moved on.
Yeah, David in New Jersey had a question, everyone. I would play Monangai.
Lamar Jackson has been the next most asked about player behind Rome Odunze.
I told you, I will not field Lamar Jackson questions. I understand this is
what
my
if it's
job.
a simple question like this, Mike, from
Okay.
Trejor on X? Can we trust Lamar?
Oh, I'll field that.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
No,
Can you trust him?
You can't trust Lamar.
Man, it's
Because Lamar might not be able to trust part of his body. I mean, he's not
rushing baseline is not what it has been, and he says he's not injured. But he's also, I mean, we've been while watching these Ravens games going, that's not what Lamar is not even choosing to do what you're just so used to seeing him do. When he's got the ability to get to the outside edge, he just kind of cuts it up and grabs 3 yards and falls over, because it's like he's never done that before, and I think there is a physical limitation.
Oh, yeah, that foot has to be hurting.
But I also want to point out, if Isaiah Likely does not fumble the ball on his big breakaway touchdown,
Yeah,
and the Flowers offensive pass interference just wasn't called, I mean, you'd be going, Lamar had a great game. He has that's 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
We just
on
haven't
top of
been
what he
in the
did.
position where we have to have a couple things go right to not have you be
But I think
6 points.
Should those, or if both of those plays had hit, you would be saying Lamar had an okay game. You wouldn't be saying he had a great game.
I agree, but we wouldn't be like so terrified of Lamar. I mean, right now, if I'm looking at Lamar or Baker, I go Baker. Brissett, I'd go Brissett. Mahomes, I'd go Mahomes. But you get to an area where it's like, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence?
I was going to say that the difficult line for me is when you hit Lawrence, Jacoby, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, those type of plays. Maybe you're scared off of Sam Darnold after last week. I can understand that. But so Brissett and Trevor Lawrence.
Brissett, I would play. I do feel like Lamar has earned the opportunity to trust him beyond this little run.
Yeah.
Because the upside can be so tremendous and they need it. But Brissett, I feel like it'd be safe.
Yeah, Brissett is just the Rams matchup. The Rams matchup.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with some more questions.
Lowe's knows Sundays are for football, so tackle your home improvement projects by Saturday and earn your Sunday with great deals on LG and Bosch appliances, select Bounty and Swiffer cleaning products, and more. Then, once your to-do list is done, get ready to kick back, relax, and enjoy the game. Shop in store or online now and earn your Sunday with help from Lowe's, official partner of the NFL. Here's the typical holiday pattern. You tell yourself you'll be thoughtful, and then you panic at the last minute and you buy a gift card. This year, skip the panic and give an Aura frame. Enjoy unlimited free photo and video uploads. Simply download the Aura app, connect to Wi-Fi, and start adding memories in seconds. Every gift can be personalized with a custom message that appears when it's first turned on. A pretty nice, thoughtful little touch for any occasion. You know, I know in my life, all the parents, the grandparents, nothing means more to them than photos and videos, than memories. And this is the easiest way to connect to those people you love. Give them all those memories. For a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, using promo code footballers at checkout. That's Aura, AURA frames.com, promo code footballers. This deal is exclusive to our listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
David in New Jersey writing in. Here's that David question, Mike. Would you drop Jordan Addison or Troy Franklin to pick up defenses for the playoffs?
Yes.
Yes. Either, both.
Either, both, yeah.
Franklin would be, who's your preferred drop of the two?
I would drop Addison.
Yeah.
I think I'd drop Troy frankly.
That's why when I said either both, I mean genuinely both. Like pick up a defense for week 15,
Right.
pick up a second defense for week 16. Like put it together. Put your
Yeah,
scoring roster together.
Yeah,
Look
when
at
you
your
have,
lineup.
I mean, these guys, if you drop them, you can pick up Adonai Mitchell and play if you need it. You know what I mean? There's those guys
Right.
out there that are of the same chance of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Wilson, if he gets dropped, you know, there are just guys in that tier. Wide receiver is the easiest place to find a dart throw based on a matchup
Yeah.
and an opportunity. Jalen Coker, whatever they're all the same.
Tom Kennedy.
Tom F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
All right.
It might just be peanut butter dwelly time. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get a peanut butter dwelly touchdown.
Are you talking for
Ross Dwelly
for
the line.
For Detroit.
Oh, that's Brock Wright.
Might be.
What is actually wrong with the Eagles' offense? Question from Dylan Hunt. They want us to diagnose this. It's a bit of everything. It is. It's a bit of everything. The offensive line play, no Lane Johnson.
That's where
the
would
running
start.
game not having big plays and keeping you accountable for play action. The accuracy of Jalen Hurts has been not good. He has missed reads and he's missed players. The locker room, squeaky wheel is not helpful. It doesn't help an offense like this execute. If you're fading back the pass, you need to feel like you can throw the ball where it needs to go. You talk about missing Goddard on a wide open play. You know what does that? My personal opinion. It's having somebody that angry about their targets in the locker room upset that you got to get him more targets. You're not looking all over the field.
I mean, for me, it's offensive line because this is just a premier example of for the people who are like, hey, dude, running backs don't matter as much as we believe and we want them to matter. You have Saquon Barkley, who, at least to me, maybe he doesn't look as good as last year when he was just on fire every single game, but he's still Saquon Barkley. He still has those abilities, and he can't get it done based off of the blocking scheme, what's happening in front of him.
They really missed DeAndre Swift. I
great-
hear what you're saying.
Saying great running backs still need proper blocking schemes and good talent at the offensive line.
Yeah. Jason, do you have anything to add? I mean, when
I think
watching
the
those
scheme,
games.
I think the scheme sucks as well. I mean, they are bottom 5 in pre-snap motion. They're bottom 2 in play action. I just think they're a very vanilla offense right now.
How do professional coaches see the success that like the Shanahan, McVays, these guys who, when you look at the end of the year, you look who's top of the league in pre-snap motion and play action. Well, like pre-snap motion gives you instantly more information about what the defense could possibly be running. And when you don't do it, you don't get that information. And you look at
it's your choice. You could choose to get that info.
And look at the offenses who
we used to do that in flag football.
Yes, because
we would move a guy in motion because we'd want to know if they're in man or not.
It was pretty simple.
And the
C-League flag football team.
The top performing offenses at the end of the year, go look. I guarantee they're going to be at the top of the league in pre-snap motion and play action. Because I believe it's a myth. The myth of, well, you have to have a great running game for play action to work. No, you don't. You just have to do the play action and buy yourself a fraction of a second where the linebackers don't know if you're running the ball or not. And teams that don't do those things are easier to stop offenses. And it's so insane to me that a professional coach can look at the success of these other offenses and not steal what they're doing.
I also think that you're right that Saquon is phenomenal, but he's tired. I mean, that guy's he's not.
I do think they should use Tank
They
more.
need to use Tank more. They really, really do. It's so outlandish to say the words out loud that Tank Bigsby is better than Saquon Barkley.
I'm not saying that at all.
But on a per touch basis, he certainly is right now.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's better for their offense. Like every time Tank touches the ball behind that offensive line, special things happen. And right now, Saquon is somewhere like 3.7 yards a carry, and he just doesn't look like his explosive self. And I don't blame him. The guy had a bajillion carries all the way through the Super Bowl. It's like,
that's a good point.
You need to give this man some rest.
No, it makes sense. JL Mitchell, Mike, writing in on Instagram, what is that switch next to Mike's foot? I never noticed it till this season.
That's my mute button, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
If I gotta,
That flushes the toilet that's built into his seat.
if I gotta clear the throat, if you gotta, cough. I don't know. Jason knows about pushing the mute button to clear his throat today.
Yeah.
Every
I've
once
been
in a
holding
while,
down mine most of the show.
Because you don't want me to be like,
every once in a while, the mute button is broken and we didn't know it was broken. And then you hear somebody just go, and then
This is a
and then
professional
Al
operation.
starts sweating back there. Jayden Daniels question from Eddie: are we starting Jayden Daniels with confidence? Let's
I
throw
don't
that
think-
up there with the Lamar Jackson playoff decisions.
I mean, I agree with Andy's take earlier this week. I don't think Jayden Daniels is playing, so that will make it easy.
Okay. If he plays, the matchup actually is rough. Minnesota has a strong defense. The complete destruction of their offense is making things harder on the defense. But dude, if
Still
Jayden,
not cleared for contact. But,
Okay, then
but
he's not
fantasy
gonna play.
playoffs. I mean, if you're looking at Lamar, Jayden Daniels for 15, 16, 17, is Lamar's week this week even more significant for because your fantasy playoffs are coming up?
Sure.
It's either 4 straight bad games or it's signs of life.
Mm-hmm.
If you get signs of life, I feel like you're going to play Lamar in your playoffs.
You need to see it. But once Jayden is back, I would play him.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't have hurt legs. He hurt his non-throwing arm.
I agree. Yeah, and I will say this: if Jayden doesn't come back, which I think is completely in the cards, he just doesn't play this year. Why force him back now? If he's healthy, they'll bring him back. But Mariota's been great, and you should not discount Mariota. Like this week against Minnesota, no. But the Giants coming up, the Cowboys in championship week, like Mariota could be winning championships for people.
Good.
Yeah, he just they run enough intentional like quarterback draws with him, and he's been good enough. And having Terry McLaurin there, I mean, it was Denver last week, and he had a great game.
Yeah, he hasn't started. He's started.
He's
what,
a little
6
bit like
games this year?
Brissett.
3 times he's been a top 10.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with him this week in a spot start. David Levy, he asked this question. I answered it on Twitter, or at least somebody asked a similar one. I just want to make sure that you guys are on the same page here. Should a team be allowed to not set their lineup to intentionally lose to get a better playoff matchup?
No. You have to set a full lineup.
That was the question. It was, do I have to set a legal lineup? I said yes.
Yeah, I mean, so Mike has this issue this week
Which
in the League of
league?
Record.
League of Record.
It helps you if you lose?
No. He
doesn't have a tight end to play.
It's transitioning to, do you have to play a full lineup?
Gotcha.
And my bench was at the point where I don't need to make a move. My team is very strong if I don't make a move, but George Kittle's my only tight end.
And so he's on bye.
Yeah, he's on bye, but it's like I got Jackson Dart as my backup quarterback for Joe Burrow. I have multiple defenses. I have Brian Robinson because I have Christian McCaffrey. And it was like,
that's tough.
And it has very little consequence. Like it affects our standings in terms of draft picks for next year because the team I'm playing, they're out. Like if draft picks were not.
So what did you decide for your situation?
I
have somebody in there.
I have claims in to make myself have a legal lineup. It's just it sucks because it affects so little for me to have to do this. I'm forced to drop a player I don't want to drop just to put a stupid tight end for a game I don't need to win, and I'm projected to win even without a tight end in my lineup.
But it matters because the integrity of the league, the other team, their draft pick
that's
order
as close to
next
a
year.
situation to get me to think that it does that you're okay not to.
Now,
that's as close as I've ever gotten.
On the flip side, like my team right now,
aren't you a legal lineup with George Kittle in there? No.
There's a player there. How many
team
points is he going to get? I don't know.
Can almost have no change. I have to basically go 0-2, another guy go 2-0, and I've got to lose like 65 points. He's got to gain on me for me to change seeding in the playoffs. But I hope that happens because I would much rather play the other side of the bracket. So I don't love David Montgomery this week, but he's in my lineup.
Right.
I don't love Rome, but he's in my lineup. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
They're blowing up for you this week.
For sure. This is a 4 touchdown David Montgomery.
When
game
you don't
today.
need them, these two guys are going to make you they'll play well enough this week to make you have to think about them for playoff matchups.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they'll do. Jamie wanted to know the best time for a trade deadline. We have the day before Thanksgiving. Someone had extended. That's late. I mean, day before Thanksgiving this year is much past where our deadline was in both our other leagues.
But I will
And
say
they're
that
in
our
week 13?
deadlines are decently early because we are keeper leagues and we worry
I
about
think
trading.
we're week 11 basically.
Yeah. I think Thanksgiving is fine.
Yeah, this was a late Thanksgiving, man. It's throwing everything off.
I think
It got to December too quick.
a trade deadline right before week 13. I think that's fine.
My wife asked for the first time ever, by the way, just because I know you guys are the Christmas trees before Thanksgiving people. It was like Thanksgiving break started, and she's like, should we put the tree up? I'm like, no, it's Thanksgiving. Like, we got to wait till after. This is the first time I wish I had. Because the latest Thanksgiving can be was what it is this year, the 28th. And so then December's there too quick. I feel behind.
Yeah, you should.
I see nods from Producer's Alley.
My guy, I have, for weeks, mornings, got the coffee, got the Christmas tree glowing.
Yours is already up?
I got the Charlie Brown record.
Oh, you've been doing this for weeks?
Oh,
yeah, and it's great
We-
every
Dude, I gotta
time.
get-
We hosted Thanksgiving dinner, right? We cooked the whole meal and
Look
and
at
had that.
us.
And when people showed up to
I
my
ate
house,
Jack in the Box.
when people showed up to my house, there was a sleigh in my front yard and deer in my front yard and a decorated Christmas
Living?
tree. Yeah, we bought some deer, some reindeer, brought them in from
The ultimate Jason bougie move. He's got real
No, I got
lives.
reindeer. Real ones.
No, but it's like, yeah, you're coming to Thanksgiving on Christmas. That's what it was at my house.
And did people, were they supportive?
They were all happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
I
figure.
bet it brought him joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was.
They're like, whoa, what is that?
How early is it next year? Can somebody do the research?
What?
This was just too late for me.
You're saying the time between Thanksgiving
Yes, I
and
need the
Christmas.
gap. I
What
need the
day
gap.
of the month does Thanksgiving fall on?
Because it can be as early as
I
the
gotcha.
22nd and as late as the 28th.
Yeah. So the fourth Thursday.
Yeah. And I just figured
It looks pretty similar.
it's the 26th.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the 26th.
That- I can live with that. I
The
just
2
need
days is it?
A couple days to like hang the lights and stuff like that. Now I pulled out a advent calendar for the kids on the 2nd. That's not fun. We're behind.
Yeah, Advent calendars is day one, man.
I know. This is me kind of giving you some ground here.
All right.
Now, I'm not about to put everything in a dome. Don't get me wrong. All right. I'm not putting all the.
Big dome, big
I'm not
Christmas.
going big dome.
That's dumb.
We are actually all on the same team if we're a team retractable.
Yes.
We have the
We
technology.
say Team Dome, but retractable roof should be every stadium.
So
A beautiful day, open the roof.
okay, so you just want the dome for bad weather.
That's all.
Okay.
That's it.
100%.
Why would you want a roof in a great environment?
Well,
no
you
wind?
too, who knew?
No,
I mean,
yeah. I don't
you guys
want
would point at fantasy stats and how good they are in domes, and then you'd be like, let's
I
just cover
don't
it up.
want-
Turn out the lights.
good football ruined. That's all
Yeah.
it is. Like
Yeah.
I say, you were just sharing the Oakland Athletics
Yeah, they have kind of like it's a closed
Like
stadium.
a hybrid.
NC.
It's a closed stadium, but it has like massive windows and it
there
looks
should
kind of open.
never be a roof on
Okay.
a baseball field
New proposal.
because you should ruin that. That's not a fun product to
Okay.
watch.
Okay.
So it's like
All right.
I would rather watch the snow
Like,
or
did-
the wind.
Yeah.
Like tuning into that, what was the Cleveland game that had the wind?
Yeah.
Dude, it looked miserable.
Oh, it is, and that's what makes it fun. Listen, I've got a proposal. Retractable.
Yeah, it's
no.
so weird.
I just need one snow game a year. Here's the plan. Everything can be in a retractable roof, but you plan one intentional game in the worst weather possible. You figure out where that's going to be. You move the teams there. You put them out there in the elements. I don't care if players are blowing away or it doesn't matter. Give me one game where I can have some Tomlin tough knuckle football in the mud, in the snow, in the rain, one time. Because that is
That's fine. You take
fun.
the two
Those
worst
highlights
teams
are fun.
that we have no fantasy players
Yes,
from and put
that's
them in that
fine.
game.
Hall of Fame
Cleveland,
game?
New York, just
Hall
have
of Fame game?
Well,
Cleveland and the Jets every
but
year.
you don't have snow during the Hall
Yeah.
of Fame.
No, I'm just saying. Well, let's move the Hall of Fame game.
No.
to-
Real football, but teams we don't care about.
What if it's
Worst two
artificial
records.
snow?
Worst two records meet up in the Snow Bowl every year. Okay?
Okay.
Worst two
I
There
records
we
love that.
go.
meet up in the Snow Bowl,
Yeah.
and that's the punishment for sucking.
Yeah.
You have to play in sub-zero temperatures and get frostbite.
Yeah, and
All
you
right.
have to win to get the number 1 pick.
Oh, yes. Yes, Michael.
We did it, man.
We
Yes.
just fixed
You got to
football.
win the snow
Win the
bowl.
Snow Bowl in the worst weather. We find out the day that's the worst, and we move the game there.
That's right.
And fans don't get to come.
No. Because
We
there's
can't
no
risk
stadium
their,
there.
We can't risk their life.
There's no stadium because we don't know where the worst weather's going to
It's
be.
just a field.
We've got to go to wherever the worst, most
Yes.
remote,
And
terrible
the winner
weather
of
is.
the horrific Snow Bowl game, the Blizzard game of the year, gets the number 1 pick.
Man,
Football fix.
you're so smart.
We are the smartest men alive. That'll do it for today's episode of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Starts of the week and matchups tomorrow. More matchups in the stupid Wheel of Shame on Friday. We'll catch you then.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.